Your unique story, our global audience. Global One Media.
Hello, and welcome to our series of interviews with decision makers and senior leaders of companies across the board to help you, our viewers, make informed and intelligent investment decisions. I am Munir Barazi, your business analyst and host, and today I am pleased to welcome Aneel Waraich, the Executive Vice President and Director at STEppe Gold, a producer, developer, and explorer of precious metals in Mongolia. The company holds several important properties in the country. Steppe Gold is already in the post-revenue stage and is listed on the TSX exchange as STGO, and on the OTCQX as STPGF, and on the FSE as 2J9. Hello, Aneel. It's so good to have you with us today.
Good to be here.
So could you start by telling our viewers who are not yet familiar with Steppe Gold about the company, its impressive track record, and its vision for the future?
Absolutely. So Steppe Gold today is a producer. We've been in production since April 2020, having started the company at the end of 2016, early 2017 as a private company, listing in 2018, and bringing production online in 2020. So very quickly, we've moved from a greenfield asset, which was about 1 million ounces, just over 1 million ounces, to today's well over 2 million ounces. And we've increased reserves from 210,000 ounces to about 1.7 million ounces today on a gold equivalent basis. So we are a producer from our phase one operation. It's a heap leach operation that will continue to produce for the next 2 years, while expanding into our sulfides that will come online in about 2 years' time and take us to over 100,000 ounces of production for over 12 years of mine life at about $850 all-in cost. Very similar cost to our phase one operation currently in production.
Those are very impressive achievements, and to add to that, there is recently news that has emerged from Steppe Gold. You've signed a binding agreement to acquire Anacortes. Congratulations. Could you tell us about this acquisition and the asset you've acquired, which is Tres Crosses? Why is it unique and so attractive?
Yeah, so for a few reasons, actually. So one is it's 2.5 million ounces of resources. So we've actually doubled our resource book with this acquisition for approximately 21 to 22% of dilution. So it's a highly accretive acquisition for all shares that fits very well into our development pipeline. So there's about 600,000 ounces of leachable material, so over 400,000 of oxides plus some transition or sulfide material. So that's actually almost 3 times the size of our phase one operation in Mongolia. Yet there's another 1.9 million ounces of sulfides below, all still remain open. So a very similar asset like in Mongolia. It's you have oxides at surface, leachable sulfides below, and we can take a phased approach. More importantly, we can still continue to focus on our phase two expansion in Mongolia. As that comes online in about 2025, we can then take some of our development team and operating team down to Peru and go build our next operation, a heap leach, which we've already successfully built in Mongolia. So it fits very well into our development pipeline, where we're not using a lot of resources and diluting our efforts in Mongolia, but banking a world-class, one of the highest grade undeveloped oxide mines in the world. So very exciting in an established mining jurisdiction.
Very exciting indeed. And how does this acquisition fit into your overall strategy?
Yeah, so we started the company as a Mongolia-focused company. Mongolia, our team has been in Mongolia since 2009. Previously built another company and sold that in 2011 for $500 million cash. So we certainly love the country. It's still underexplored and resource rich. But in this day and age, you're finding from investors that they want diversification and they want scale. So this offers both. So our plan was always to continue to add more assets from within Mongolia and eventually look outside where we can build a multi-asset, multi-jurisdiction company. So it provides risk diversification. So for many people who aren't comfortable with just an emerging market producer like we are in Mongolia, we've now added a tier one mining asset and jurisdiction to the portfolio, and we can continue to do so in the future. And I think the goal for Steppe Gold is, over time in the next few years, to have more development assets and a production profile that can be well over 250,000 ounces. And now you can see a path to 200,000 ounces in just a few years between our phase 2 in Peru.
Very promising. And could this potentially help you achieve economies of scale? If perhaps you could also tell us about your other projects and how they performed in 2022.
Sure. So our main project in 2022 was obviously the heap leach project in Mongolia. So that's performed quite well. We only produced from March of last year until the end of the year. So just on over 9 months of production, we still produced circa 33,000 ounces and at about $850 all-in cost, between 800 and 850. So very robust production. This year we'll be on a similar profile, probably 45 to 50,000 ounces this year and next at the same cost structure. What we've done in the background while continuing to generate cash flow is grow our asset base below. So just below 40 meters is when the sulfides start. And that's now, like I said, 2 million ounces or 1.6 plus on a reserve basis. It now allows us to produce at over 100,000 ounces per annum, similar structure. So we've grown our asset base while bringing production online, yet we're only down to about 350 to 400 meters from surface. So there's still an opportunity to continue to grow our resource base and our reserve base while constructing the expansion. We believe that the phase 2 expansion will look more like a 15 to 20 year mine life when it comes online in about 2 years' time at 100,000 plus ounces production profile. So very robust cash flow, strong asset, good mine tenure today that we can then take that cash and roll into the exploration and development of other assets within Mongolia and now in Peru. So we do have a large exploration license in Mongolia in the southwest of the country. So there's no synergies between the assets, but it is in a new gold district in a new region where other companies have had a lot of success drilling right to our licenses. So very exciting to have self-funded exploration on our assets, using our cash flow to continue to grow.
And on top of all of those very important accomplishments, are there any other updates that investors might want to hear about? Can you think of any factors that could lift the valuation of Steppe Gold in the near or medium future?
Yes. So on our expansion, we're just filling in the remaining financing of the expansion. So we're using our cash flow from the oxide mine plus debt or debt-like structure. So we've actually already started construction of phase 2 last year. We built a crusher. That was a big installment. A fixed crushing circuit for phase 2 is already installed. So we've kind of chipped away at some expansion. This year, announcing the funding package and resuming construction, I think will be a significant catalyst. It shows the market that we're fully funded for the phase 2. There'll be minimal dilution. We haven't raised equity for 2.5 years. Our last equity raise was at more than double our current share price, and we're a much bigger company today. So that's quite exciting. I think the markets can appreciate that our scale's there. We are obviously cheaply valued compared to where we were years ago. And then not to mention the fact that we've looked at a Hong Kong listing for this fall. We just announced that the week before last. We are an Asian producer today, and listing in the Hong Kong allows us to bring in more Asian investors, where we already have 40% of our investor base from within Asia. We become only one of a handful of producers on the Hong Kong exchange. So even though in Toronto we'll keep our listing, we're one of hundreds of companies. On the Hong Kong exchange, we're one of a handful producers. So we'll have a lot more eyeballs, and their valuations are significantly higher. So I think there's a combination of continued production updates, development updates, financing updates, acquisition updates, as we just came out with, quite a lot of milestones and catalysts for the rest of the year that should allow us to recover and re-rate.
That's really remarkable, especially that you haven't raised equity recently with the current high cost of capital.
Yeah, absolutely. So we are very mindful of dilution as owners of this business. More management and board own almost 20% of the company today. We haven't sold a share, and we've been public for just under 5 years. So we have very strong alignment with our investors. We try to push off or mitigate any dilution when possible, because there's a lot of upside in our company, and we're in it with our backers and our partners and our investors. So I think that alignment is very important in any business.
I'm sure investors are paying attention, and we wish you the best of luck in your listing in Hong Kong. Aneel Waraich, the Executive Vice President and Director at Steppe Gold, thank you so much for joining us today and sharing those updates. We look forward to hearing more updates from Steppe Gold soon.
Thank you so much for having me. Thank you, Manir.